We have not seen my next guest in quite some time, but we're hearing she's going to be back next year against a possible opponent. We'll talk about that in a second, but I'm happy to be joined by the number 12 ranked flyweight, Maycee Barber. Maycee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Before we get into all the fight talk, how was your Thanksgiving? I was kind of paying attention on Instagram. You got to see the family. Looked like you got to do a bit of hunting. How was everything?
Yeah, it was great. I did get to spend time with the family. I flew back for like 2 days. It was a really quick trip. Hunting, I'm trying to get into that a lot more,
Okay.
especially with like Chad and the guys out here. So it's kind of nice because I can hunt on the weekends and hang out on the weekends and spend some time in nature.
And you surprised your mom, right? She didn't know you were coming out?
She didn't. No, I did. I tried to surprise her because my aunt and uncle, well, my mom's aunt and uncle, they were also visiting. And so I thought that it would be cool to surprise them all. So yeah, it worked out really well. It's hard because my mom is like the kind of person that she's usually easygoing, but the one day that I tried to surprise her, I'm like, hey, can we get her to go get coffee or something? And she totally was like being difficult. She's like, I don't want to go. So then I had to like tell her, I'm like, Mom, I'm here. Just come get coffee so I can have a ride home.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall,
okay.
it was a lot of fun.
That's great. I was at your last fight against Jessica I. That was back in the summer in July. Were you surprised not to get a fight before the end of the year, or was this by design?
No, I had a little injury that I didn't know that I had. It came from the fight. So I had partially torn my rotator cuff.
Wow.
And I had no idea until I got back into training like that next week. Like my hand just kept falling asleep. So I couldn't just take a fight because like it was one of those things where like I could still be training, but at the same time, like if I had taken a fight and I tried to go like all out and go live, then I probably would have torn it the rest of the way, and then I would have been out for like an entire year. So talking with Mick and talking with the coaches and stuff, it just made sense to wait. And then I got, I've had a few fight offers and finally have one where I'm like, this is a good date, and it worked out perfectly. So I'm happy, especially also, coming off of that Jessica I fight, I had to have a whole new renegotiation for a new contract. So had to re-sign with the UFC and all of that. So it went really well. I'm happy with the contract that I have. And I think the time that I had off was just like kind of needed. Even though I really do want to fight consistently and like a lot more,
Yeah, but the contract's important. I mean that, and congrats, by the way, another contract. I'm assuming 4 fights and everything went well.
Yeah, this is actually a 5 or 6 fight deal.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a little bit longer, but I'm excited because I did it myself, and I'm really happy with it. So yeah.
Yeah, and are you dealing? You mentioned it there, so you're dealing directly with the UFC, or do you no longer have any management, or did the management help with this?
No, yeah, I did it myself. I actually flew out. Hunter and Mick flew me out, and we sat down, we had dinner, and talked, and then we went through the whole negotiation process together. I did not do it with a management. I did it on my own.
Awesome, good for you. And when was this?
Yeah.
When did you sign the contract?
This was a few months ago. We sat down.
Okay.
They flew me out like right after the fight. Not that much longer.
Oh, that's good. You don't have to stress then about contract and all that.
It took me a minute to sign it because like I've been all over the place. So finally, like I think I signed it like around the time that I also signed my bout agreement. So,
okay.
But yeah, it's been good.
Good for you. And in terms of fighting, I mean, we're hearing Andrea Lee is possibly your opponent. This seemed like a fight that was going to happen anyways. You two were in LFA at the time. I remember like way back when. I'm sure she's someone you had on your radar as a potential opponent.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's in the top 10 is going to be, a potential opponent because once you're there, you're there, So it's kind of just like a matter of time, and like it kind of depends on, who's fighting, who's not fighting, who's injured, who's not injured. So it's like that's something that like Mick and Hunter and I talked about. It's like it's not just like, oh, you just get to pick the one person that you want. Like there's so many things that go on within the division. So you're gonna have to face all of them at some point. So I'm excited about this matchup. I think it's a really great matchup for myself, and yeah, I'm just ready already, and it's like 17 weeks away.
No, it's a ways away. Exactly.
I'm like, let's be here now.
Yeah, no, I bet, chomping at the bit. Had you two ever trained together before, or was this like completely fresh?
Not from what I remember. I know that we've seen each other a little bit at the PI and just around, but you know, I have a lot of respect for her. She's a great athlete. She's a great fighter, and yeah, I have nothing bad to say about her right now.
And you mentioned having plenty of time ahead of the fight. Is the whole camp going to be at Alpha Male, or where you do a bit of cross training? I know sometimes, for example, you work with, you know, Izzy and, you know, with your wrestling and stuff. Is there any of that, or is it just going to all be at Team Alpha Male for this camp?
You know, I'm not sure, you know, if the coaches are traveling, then I might travel. But as of right now, I mean, I'm happy with, you know, where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I love Danny, Joey, Uriah, Chris, like Darren, everybody there is great. So I don't foresee myself needing to travel too much. But, you know, like I do appreciate training with everybody. So we'll see. You know, it just kind of is like, I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. Cause like we have 17 weeks, you know, if I travel and train for like a week somewhere, it's not a bad thing, you know?
Yeah, no, good to get some variety in there. And how long has it been now you've been in California at Alpha Male? I was trying to remember.
I moved out here, 8 weeks before I fought Miranda Maverick. So
that's right. Okay.
I think it's like a year and a half now. Cause like I'm halfway through my second lease. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like a home base now. I know in the past you've tried out different gyms, but it seems like this is just the right fit for you. Not the weather's great. You know, you got a lot of good coaches and stuff. Like, just seems like a good fit for you.
Well, it's not so great today.
No, it isn't. Well, what's not so great though?
Now.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, no, I love it here. I love the people, the team, the gym. Again, the weather it is a bonus. I live 4 minutes from the gym, so like it's
perfect.
It's great. You know, like I can go and train at the gym whenever. But yeah, the whole energy and the reason why I moved out here is because of the gym and the environment and the people and the training. Like all of that as a whole is like I haven't walked into a single gym where like the energy of the gym is so positive and so much like, you know, we're just gonna grind and get better today, and it's like a lot of hard work. But at the same time, like it's hard work, but it's like people are excited and happy to do it. You know, like it's not like you're walking into a gym where like you can tell the coaches don't want to be there or the people don't want to be there. You know, it's like people really do leave their crap at the door and go in to get better. So I love that. And then there's high level training partners. You know, there's always people that are trying to share their knowledge. Clay, Darren, like all the fighters that are, you know, Clay and Darren. I say that now because they're fighting this weekend, but like. They're all willing to share all their knowledge and experience, and I love that. You know, it's really cool to see people who are such a family, even though, you know, they're not related by blood, and it's a special thing.
Early prediction for the fight. Andrea, to her credit, is very, very durable, very tough to take out. How do you see the fight playing out in March?
She is. She's very durable, but at the same time, you know, I've been grinding, and I'm coming back to the same fighter that I used to be, of that person that's just going to be relentless, pressured, dominant. And I'm coming for the kill. So I do that every fight. And I'm really happy, you know, in life. And I feel like a happy fighter is a very dangerous fighter, you know, and that's something that everybody says all the time. So I'm very excited about this matchup. I know that it's going to come out with my hand being raised. And I would love to finish her, whether it's submission or a knockout. So I'm coming for it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. At the top of your division, obviously, Valentina Shevchenko is still the flyweight champion. I'm sure you've had a chance to watch her fight against Taila Santos. Do you think she won? Because some people feel like that was a decision that maybe should have gone the other way.
You know, I feel like that's a matchup that everybody needs to see that rematch, because I agree. I think that Taila was giving her a lot of problems, and I feel like Valentina got lucky with that injury or that like bump on Taila Santos's eye. I would love to see that rematch. I think that that's the fight that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I think that she was the one fighter that has exposed Valentina the most, and I've said that before in different interviews and stuff. But like, I know for a fact that like that fight could have easily gone the other way. But at the same time, that you have to take the title away from the champion. So I can also see why they didn't give it to her, even though I feel like, you know, she dominated that fight.
And there's a lot of things going on in your division. We just had Manon Fiorot defeat Kaitlyn Chookagain. What did you? I'm sure I don't know if you watched that fight, but what did you think? Because Kaitlyn's another fighter that's very tough to defeat in that weight class.
Yeah, I feel like that Kaitlyn's like an okay fighter. She's an okay fighter. I definitely see that Manon she's coming up and she's tough. She's getting, better. She's evolving a lot, and she's going to be a problem in that division as well. So I feel like Kaitlyn's kind of like at that spot where like she's as good as she's going to get, and she's gotten to the top, but at the same time just hasn't reached that final level, and like, who knows, maybe her outside life is like she wants to move on or do something else. So like, you never know where like a fighter's at, like in their life and in their phase of their next chapter. So I guess we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, well, no, changing of the guard, though, I think, you're seeing some of these up-and-comers like yourself and, so many others in the weight class kind of, it looks like there's a bit of a changing of the guard when you mentioned someone like Kaitlyn there. Another name that's been making some noise and someone I know you were linked to a fight with, Erin Blanchfield. What did you think of her win over Molly McCann?
I think Erin's being handed girls that don't know how to grapple. I don't think she's that good. I think she got outstruck by JJ Aldrich, who JJ Aldrich was a completely different fighter after I fought her. And JJ was outstriking Erin and then made a really dumb mistake and gave up her neck. And then I feel like the fight with Molly, like Molly's not that great of a fighter. She had a lot of hype behind her, but she's not that spectacular of a fighter. She was given a lot of girls that don't know how to Erin was given a lot of girls that don't know how to grapple. So she was given Miranda Maverick, who didn't have jiu-jitsu at the time, and I exposed that. And then Erin went out and dominated her jiu-jitsu wise. And then she fought Molly, and same thing. Molly doesn't have that great of grappling. So I think Erin's all right, but it's just different levels.
Do you see that fight happening at some point? Again, you guys were rumored to be fighting a while ago.
Yeah, I see it happening at some point, maybe. But right now, I'm on the track that I'm on, and she's on the track that she's on. And, if Mick is like, hey, I think this fight makes sense, then I'll go and beat her up. But, like, right now, I think that she's fighting all the girls that I already beat, and she's working her way up, and that's cool. She's probably going to have a lot of hype behind her until she gets, dominated by someone. But good for her.
Do you think the fight should have been stopped sooner against Molly? Because some people felt like maybe it was a bit of a late stoppage.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, it didn't look like the tide was turning in that one.
I've had fights where, like, same thing. Like, I had 47 unanswered strikes in a fight before. So, like, every ref is going to have, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with. And I think that's up to the ref, and that's up to the promotion to say, great stoppage, late stoppage. Like, it is what it is. Us fighters need to go in and do what we need to do. And Erin did what she needed to do. So, like, she was punching and she was getting unanswered strikes. So, like, if the ref is like, it's not ready, then, like, you just got to keep hitting them, So, like, I don't really, that's not my job.
Yeah.
No. Our job is to do what we do best and leave the rest up to everyone else.
And one more name I'll throw out there to you, Casey O'Neill. I know she's on the sidelines right now dealing with an injury, but what have you made of her rise in the division? Because you both and Erin as well, like I said, this new changing of the guard, so to speak.
Yeah, she's another fighter that I think is, she's trying to create that hype for herself and that name for herself. I don't see her standing out that much. I think she's okay. But, we'll see. Time will tell. I mean, she just came out of a pretty significant entry. So, we'll see how her comeback fight is and what she does with that.
And not in your weight class, but what did you make of Weili Zhang defeating Carla Esparza to win the strawweight title again?
I actually told Mick, I was like, hey, I'm going to go down to 115. I want to fight Carla and beat her up because I don't think she's all these girls. Really? I just don't think they're as good as, that people think they are. But I wanted that fight. I was like, if Weili doesn't beat her, I'm like, I'm going down to 115. I'm gonna beat her up. So I wasn't surprised by that. I don't think that Carla was, is that phenomenal. And so it didn't surprise me. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. My take on it.
Were there any serious talks about you going? Because I haven't heard you since you moved up that you consider moving back down at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of in the back of my mind been wanting to go back down to 115. So there's a pretty good chance that after this fight, I'm going back down.
Really?
I've been
Okay.
working with, I've been working with Tyler Minton.
Minton,
Who
the
has
best in
done
the
my
business.
nutrition the whole
Can't say enough
time.
good things about Tyler. He's awesome.
I love Tyler.
Yeah.
It's been a long process, but you know, I'm finally at a spot where, you know, like I've healed a lot of things that I needed to heal from my past cuts to 115. That I feel like, you know, just getting a little bit lower of a walk around weight would be great, and then make that cut to 115, because I would love to fight 2 divisions. The plan is to fight, you know, shorter notice fights at 25, and then fight at 115 as well. I feel like that's a great idea. For now, and you know, I'm going to go for it. So this will probably be, if everything goes the way I want it to, this will probably be my last fight at 125 for a little bit.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And that's something I'm sure Tyler has talked to you and said, hey, look, we think we can make the weight. Is that kind of what brought you to that decision?
Yeah. I mean, I asked him, I've been asking him back and forth several times. And for me, I was going to do this fight because I was like, all right, well, we're like, it was at the time, it was like 20 weeks away. I'm like, hey, what do you think about me going down to 115? He's like, I think it's fine as long as it's not like right away. Like, we're going to take this time to like go down to it. That way it's something that's like sustainable and like keepable, you know, like we're able to do it and like stay there. And it's not just like a one-time cut. Like I want to make that, it's that entire lifestyle change of like walking around and just like being at a lighter, much more like close to 115.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a process. I'm here for it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, just playing devil's advocate here. I know you did have trouble making 115 in certain fights. What would be different? Would it just be the lifestyle change that, hey, you know, 24/7, I got to be eating a lot better, or what would you do differently?
So the whole reason why I messed up is because I was working with a nutritionist who shouldn't have.
That's right. You had some thyroid issue or something up in that. Yeah.
Nutrition license. They had me on like a 500 calorie diet for like months and months. So that was a mistake, obviously, on my part for allowing someone to do that, and listening to them and taking their knowledge to like truth. But for me, you know, it was, once you do that, like your metabolism is trash. So I had to rebuild that. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, she's not disciplined, oh, she's not this, oh, she's not that. It was literally that I was so disciplined and listening to someone who is not knowledgeable at all, to where it destroyed my body. And so we had to rebuild that. You know, it's a good thing that I had the ACL injury and all of that, because it really gave me the time to heal that metabolic dysfunction that I had. So for me, I don't think that it's going to be a problem. You know, the twice that I've had a hard time cutting in 115, the first time I was dealing with a lot of outside personal issues with stalkers and stuff that are now in jail. And then the second time,
crazy.
Say that again.
Yeah, sorry. You kind of just, you know, kind of mentioned that just
Drop
there.
that bomb.
You've been dealing with.
I mean, and I've talked about this on the internet or on interviews before, but I had a pretty serious stalker situation, which went on for about like 3 years, 2-3 years.
Wow.
And at the time that I missed weight, that was when he was not in jail and he was in Denver, somewhere in Denver, and I was fighting in Denver. So like I was super high stress, and like they had the SWAT after him. They had like the security at the fight had like a picture of him and knew, you know, hey, this is the guy that like nobody lets this guy in. So that one during my weight cut, I was really stressed out. And that's not an excuse, you know, I did what I could and I tried to make the weight and I missed the weight. So that's on me. And I still wanted that fight. So we made it work. But the second time that I missed, I guess the end of that story is he's in jail now. He's being sentenced to like 16 years.
That's crazy.
But the second time I missed was when my body was like officially like, hey, I'm done. Like you've put me through a lot, you know, and that was at the end of that like metabolic dysfunction that I really needed to heal. And that was when Clint and the UFC PI was like, hey, we need to take care of this so that you can have a long career. And so I'm very thankful for that. And now I'm like at that place where like I feel like we're really healed up and ready to go. So yeah,
it's great. Have you had to deal with no, no, and I'm glad to hear everything's good there. Do you still get any of that on social media, getting people messaging you or being creepy? You know, because obviously, like as a UFC fighter, especially being a woman, there's a lot of people that, you know, have access to messaging you just because you're on social media, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's not just me. Like every female athlete is gonna have that. Every female is gonna have that. Like this world is dark and dirty, and I feel like social media has allowed people to just say and do whatever they want and have like no repercussions whatsoever. For me, I don't read through messages, you know, and it sucks because like there's times where there's messages from like young girls or like young people that are good, but like the stalker that I had was impersonating a young girl. So it's hard to really decipher and like figure out who is who and what's what, you know? So I just really, to protect my own self, I just try not to respond at all. Unless someone tags me in like a story or something, I'll usually share that. But like, if it's just a message, I won't respond. I don't read comments. I just don't do that because I feel like a lot of times people are doing the negative stuff to get a reaction. And if you give them that reaction, then it's like it fuels that and it just keeps fueling that. And then they make up this stuff in their mind. So for me, you know, I don't like to pay attention to it. You know, if you want to meet me in person, like I think that's great. As like a younger, like a female or like someone who's genuinely interested in the sport, that's fine with me. But to avoid all the creepers and the gross people in the world, I just can't respond. I can't do it anymore. And that's not just me. Like I said, that's other female athletes. I know that we all struggle with that. That's something that like, no matter what fighter it is, if I like them, if I don't like them, like that's one thing that I feel like we can all stand together on and like understand that like people in this world are gross and they're going to keep being gross, you know? And that's one thing for like young girls and young people to just like, even if they're not a professional athlete, just to pay attention to is like, you really have to be careful because like there's so much darkness that can just like try to creep into your life and you just need to really protect yourself and like pay attention, you know, and always watch your back and always make sure that you have people around you that care about you.
What else is downtime looking like for you right now? You know, I know you used to do like painting and stuff. I don't know if you're doing any of that. What have you been up to?
Yeah, right now, not a whole lot. I'm training, I'm recovering. I'm just trying to get as, you know, like as strict as possible. But I think downtime for me is probably going to be, I'm going to start doing some more yoga. Cool. And then just hanging out with people from the gym.
Good stuff. No Netflix, not watching any TV shows?
I try not to.
Yeah. Any books? Reading anything?
My roommate and I have been like anytime I like sit down to eat, she loves Pretty Little Liars, so I'll sit down and watch that with her.
See, I knew there was something, so there is a little bit of TV time, right? So
not a whole lot though. Like it's not my pastime of choice.
No. Too busy working. Hey, Maycee, thanks for doing this. We're looking forward to hopefully you competing on March 25th. We'll see how this all sort of unfolds. But in the meantime, I know you got some sponsors. I know you got some social media you want to plug. So I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as always, Monster Energy, Kershaw Knives, Born Primitive, Toyo Tires. I have a lot. There's a couple companies I'm working with partially. So we're working on the details on that. But yeah, I mean, overall, you know, I have a great team behind me, and love my life, love the people in it. So I'm very thankful and blessed.